I Am Elemental is running their annual Childhood Cancer Awareness campaign. All through the month of September, with the purchase of one Courage action figure, one will also be donated to a child fighting cancer. Courage is a 6.5-inch action figure with 30 plus points of articulation. Molded in durable plastic, she comes with a removable helmet, chest armor, flaming energy sword, and her Courage shield. Order yours today at imelemental.com and give one to a child fighting cancer at the same time. Link in the description below. Order yours today and change a child's life. Hello everybody, Mac here. Welcome back to the show. What we have today is the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Gold Label Amazon exclusive Clayface, Batman, and Batwoman 3-pack. This just arrived literally today, time of this recording, and this is one that I was actually happy to get, mainly because of Batwoman. I'm really excited to be getting Batwoman. Also, I never picked up the Mega Fig of Clayface on his own, so this is going to be a bonus too, getting him in this pack. Now, this packaging, this might upset some collectors, and I think it kind of came out of nowhere. I didn't realize McFarlane was going to be doing like windowless packaging, because that's what this is. When I first saw this, I assumed this was some kind of slipcover, but this is the box. There's no window to this. On the side, it's just black with the Multiverse logo. McFarlane Toys down here. On the top, just the Multiverse logo. On this side, Clayface, Batman, Batwoman, DC Rebirth, Multiverse logo. And then on the back, we have an animated, like, comic book image of the three characters, the three figures that are inside this box. But that's it. There's no window to it. It's sealed up. There's no slip cover. There's no, like, open flap to take a look. So I have a feeling that in-box collectors are going to be very upset about things like this, especially considering that right now, this is the only way we can get Batwoman. Now, will they release Batwoman solo later in non-gold label packaging? Probably at some point, but if you wanted this 3-pack, you can't see this 3-pack. Like right now, I don't even know what these things look like on the inside. So, without further ado, and without talking any more about the box, let's just cut this open and take a look at McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Gold Label Amazon exclusive Clayface, Batman, and Batwoman. So opening this up, everything seems to just be in some clamshell packaging right here. There's two trays. One has the bats, one has Clayface, and then we have some accessories down here, which I'm kind of glad to see the accessories because I don't think we saw those in the promotional shots on Amazon. Also, something I want to draw attention to is that the bats, Batman and Batwoman right here, don't have any of the plastic bands on them. Clayface does, but I think this is because once you take them out, you can actually pop them back into the plastic and store them in the box. Now, I personally have none of the figures in this box, including this Batman, so this is the first time that I've received this Batman. I think this is the Rebirth Batman right here, and I have to admit, I think this is probably the most slender version of Batman we've received so far. To be completely honest, I haven't actually opened my Nightfall Batman yet, so I don't know if he has a similar build or not. But I didn't get this one because I've never really been a big fan of this costume. I don't really dig the gold outline around the bat symbol. It's either just make this black on gray or give him the oval. I don't like this yellow outlining here. I think his face sculpt is pretty well done. I do like that. Very much a neutral pose. I like the detail, the design of his face, of his chin right here. I don't hate the shorter ears. I kind of like that. And it's a much narrower body, once again, including up here in the head. He's wearing these sort of like armored gauntlets right here that, while practically I understand why he would do that, it doesn't seem to go with the rest of the costume here. And likewise, his utility belt basically serves no purpose. It's just a belt. There's no utility to it at all. I do kind of dig the purple underlay of his cape right here with the black on back, and you can see like the purple underlay there where like it's folding back. I think that's kind of cool. I don't think the original figure had this. The bat themed or the bat eared knee pads. That's kind of pushing it right there, Bruce. We get it. You're the Batman. Now, his legs, and I don't know if this is just from packaging. Oh, no, there they go. He's very loose. He's very gummy. I don't know if the first one was like that or not. But also, like, his feet don't really want to stand straight. And even the peak of his boots don't seem... Because if you turn the boots forward, the knees are bowed in. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of this design. I'm not a big fan of this figure. So this is one that will probably go back, you know, into storage rather than being displayed outright. I'm not sure. So let's take a look at the articulation. That his head will do a full 360 spin. He has decent tilt side to side. He can look up very well, which a lot of McFarlane's figures can't. He can bury the chin, which is cool. His arms would be able to do a full 360 spin, but they hit the cape. And you see they can come out, but there's cape. So bumps the cape, bumps the cape. Bicep swivel. Double jointed elbows. Wrists pivot. Wrists hinge up and down. Or you can do this, and then you can do that. And now the wrists hinge in and out. You can see right there he has the ab cut that he can do a full 360 spin. It's very loose. He's very loose in the torso in general. Even with the cape on, he can lean back. He can lean forward. Ball joint at the waist that once again will do a full 360 spin. Ball joint and crunch together can get him some real good travel back. He can go forward, and he has a little bit of side to side, but this is mostly in the waist, in the like midsection cut right there, not in the ball joint. Now, his legs will come forward very well. His legs will come out to the side, almost a 90. Hidden hip joint will turn in, doesn't do much to turn out. Double jointed knees with some really good travel. Ankles pivot. Ankles swivel. Ankles rock forward. Ankles rock back. Forward facing pin for some rocker. And he has toe articulation. Now, the cape, a couple of things about the cape. I do like that it sort of wraps around the legs down here at the bottom. The whole thing is a very slim profile Batman. But like I said, with those feet, he's just hard to stand up. Especially when you consider that McFarlane figures in general, when they have a cape, are fairly back heavy because of how heavy the rubber of the cape is. But see what I mean? I like how it stays close to him. It's a much more slender design for Batman. But then also when we look up here, the cape doesn't meet up with the cowl in certain places, and you can see the costume coming through, and that is kind of a bummer. Okay, now taking a look at Clayface, the first thing we have to address is this is not the version of Clayface that was part of that Rebirth team. That version of Clayface had the more, like, sort of oval-shaped head. He had kinder features, kind of. He didn't have all these faces popping through. The version that should have come with this box set should have looked more like the Batman the Animated Series version of Clayface. I know there are some people that want to put that team together and may be upset that this is what we got. I'm not, however, since I never picked up this version of Clayface. So I'm really digging this body horror look that we have going on. Because first of all, look at this mush. This is a face that not even a mother could love. And the rest of him is just absolutely grotesque. Where you have these faces peering through on his skin. Up here on his shoulder, you have more skulls. These are maybe the remains of people that he has portrayed at some point or another. This is all really cool. I love the texture. Oh, there's a hand! I didn't even notice that the first time I was looking him over. There's a hand right there. So I wonder what else. There's an arm and a hand right here on his elbow. This really is just straight up body horror. And I love it. This not only will look great with the DC line, there's another arm and hand, but this might even go well with my Halloween Universal Monsters display. Maybe I should have saved him for Bricktober next month in about a week or so. But, oh well, here we are. So, the sculpt we could go over all day, to be completely honest. There's so much to look at. There's so much texture. There's a lot of detail. I feel like this is one where McFarlane Toys like really nailed it. Really took some time to sculpt this out. I think this looks good. I also really like this coloring better than the original one. I think this is a darker color. It's more of like a coppery, like brown mud dun color. And I really like that. And I think it also makes his eyes stand out more. Now his jaw is articulated, that he can drop it open. And you see he has this big lip. He has this gnarly stretch of the gums right there. And he has just the most deformed maw of teeth you've ever seen. Now this was licensed originally as a Megafig, but I don't think he's quite as big as another Megafig. I mean, we'll take a look at that once we get to size comparisons and everything, but I just feel like that this isn't exactly Megafig size. I don't know. Let's take a look at the articulation. Now the head, we'll just do a spin right there, but it's kind of fighting the mold of the body itself. He can barely look side to side. You saw that he can just basically get like the most basic side to side twist. You saw his jaw articulates. Now his arms will do a full 360 spin. When you get to the shoulders, they have to come out, but there they go. There's no butterfly joints, but because the mold of the torso doesn't come tight to the shoulders, they'll pivot on the ball. They can come up. Realistically, they can come up to 90, but then the weight of them will weigh them down a bit. There we go. Elbows have single joint articulation. That's about as straight as it'll get. And that's about as much of a bend it'll get. And it does have a swivel at the elbow. Hands can do a spin, but because of the gnarly articulation of the wrist socket, mainly this piece right here, the wrists won't do a complete spin. And you can see from right here that they do hinge in and barely out. Same thing for this one. Very tight. That's about as straight out as it'll get. And that's about as much of a bend as it'll get. Swivels at the elbow. Wrists pivot, but not all the way. Wrists hinge in and out. The articulation on this guy is very tight in most places, but right here in the shoulders, he's very loose. That I feel like if you try and pose him with the arms up, even if you can, if he's off balance, eventually the weight of them will just bring them back down. Now, here, something to take a look at. This is feels like very brittle plastic, this back piece right here. And you can even see where it was pieced together. This droop right here is actually a seam line. So you can even see right through it. This is very brittle, this upper torso piece. This bottom torso piece, on the other hand, is a soft rubber, which I'm kind of wondering why they didn't just go with the soft rubber for the entire body. Because, like, Clayface being able to be squishy isn't completely outside the realm of possibility. Now, he can do a spin, but I can't seem to get a full 360. I feel like I'm straining it, and I don't want to break it. He can arch back just a little. And he can come forward a little more. And that's really about it. I don't think he has any real twist down here at the bottom of the waist. Yeah, no, I think this is just... Well, let's see. I don't know if you can see in there, but it's basically just like a solid a solid piece that just has a swivel to it. No bend, no nothing. Yep. I don't know if you can see that right there. So, that's it for the waist. Legs will go forward real well. Legs will go back. Legs will kick out to the side. Very limited knee articulation, just like with the elbows. Also a swivel right there, and that's it. Now, there's not much to the articulation as far as like waist and legs go, but, I mean, really, it's Clayface. What else are you going to have him do other than like swinging these big meats at a hero, maybe lifting one up, threatening to eat him? Like, it's Clayface. He's not exactly known for dexterity, but the articulation is what it is. This is the most thing that this is the one that I'm most concerned about, is the arms. That's where the majority of your posing is going to come from. All right, now here she is, probably the one that everybody has been waiting for, Kate Kane herself, the Batwoman. This looks really great. I love the deep richness of the black of her costume. I love how pale her skin tone is. I love the multi-red and orange of this wig of her hair right here. I think that looks fantastic. The eyes, the dark red lipstick with like the black upper lip, all of that. Look, they even like carved in or sculpted in nostrils underneath the nose piece. I think she looks fantastic. The color is right on. The two-tone cape, black, shiny black on back, red on the underlay. The utility belt, I really dig. It has the utility pouches right here, has that V shape that the Rebirth Batman had, but it actually has the utility part of the belt going on with it. The thin bat like spikes or bat wings for the gauntlets, I really dig that. Coming down to the boots, even the boots look great with this cut right in here. And she's not wearing like combat wedges or combat heels. She's wearing like an honest to goodness combat boot with some really good realistic treading down here on the bottom of her boots. Visually, I think Kate here looks fantastic. I even like the, I don't know what you call those things, but like the spot where the cape attaches to the costume. I wish I knew what like the name of those buttons or whatever were. Even if you look at this, like the sweep of the bat ears coming off the mask and melding in with the wig, I think this whole thing is fantastic. I think Kate looks great. Now let's take a look at the articulation. That obviously this head of hair is going to interfere with a lot. That you can get a full 360 spin, but like depending on where you're having her look, the hair is going to force her head down, will get in the way, won't exactly look natural in the way that it lays. She can't look up. She can look down. She has tilt side to side, but once again, the hair, especially on this side, is going to get in the way. And if you do tilt the head, it doesn't exactly look natural. Arms will do a full 360 spin. On this side, though, obviously, they'll run into the cape. Butterfly joint. Come up to 90. Bicep swivel. Double jointed elbows. Wrists pivot. Wrists pivot. Wrists will hinge up and down. And then you can spin them, and you can do that. And they'll hinge in and out. Now, we have this torso cut right here that she can do a full 360. It's a little tight because her torso is more narrow than it is wide, so there's a little bit of tightness in there. She can lean back. She can lean forward. Ball joint at the waist, once again, doing a full 360 spin. She can lean back, lean forward. And she does have some side-to-side rock right there. Legs will come up very well to 90. Legs will go back. Hidden thigh cut doesn't really do much of anything. This is an awful tease because it looks like there should be a thigh swivel right there where this line is, And it almost seems like maybe they were going to do that, but that isn't cut, that is solid. So you don't get the swivel right there. Double jointed knees. Ankles turn. Ankles are rock forward. Ankles are rock back. And we have toe articulation. Oh, and the forward facing pin for some rocker. Now let's get to the bad of it. That, first of all, at least on mine, her knees are very weak. That I do have a hard time standing her up. And of course, it's going to make a liar out of me now. But, like, her knees are very weak. You can see her tilting back already, even if I bring her forward like that. That, like, she'll start to, yeah. So that is very disappointing. I'll have to get something to tighten those up. Her feet don't exactly line up correctly with the center of her boots, but you can eventually get like a flat-footed stance out of her. And then all of this hair that she can't look up, she can barely look down, but she can't even look straight. Like, that's as straight as I can get it. That I feel like there's just too much hair in here. Whoops. Come on. Focus. There's too much hair in here that I might have to cut some of that out to hollow that out a little bit so that she can actually look straight. Because right now, that rubbery mane will always eventually start to force her head to look down. Also, if you notice here, we're already getting some paint rub on the cape from the paint of this mane of hers. So those are some... I'm most upset about not being able to really look forward very well. That's most upsetting. The knees are also upsetting too. I'm fully aware that that could just be mine, but when you're bringing out Batwoman for the first time, you kind of want it to be good. There we go. You kind of, yeah. Focus in. So, of course, it's going to stand now. Now, she has a grip hand and a fist hand, and I think I might have said this when I did the video that was first revealing this set. I kind of wish she had two grip hands, because I would love to get a set of 1911s and have her dual wielding. I know the Bats don't use guns, but she did when she first came on the scene, and that would have just been really cool. Okay, for accessories, all this set really comes with are two grapple guns and two batarangs, and to be completely honest, these aren't the most interesting grapple guns that DC Multiverse has put out. This one with the grapple in like just the beginning of the launch, it's small, it's kind of boring. I'm guessing this is supposed to be for Batwoman. The other one kind of looks like a Keaton grapple gun, like a Batman 89 grapple gun, just has this really big anchor hook that shoots out the front of it, though. Now, the ones that really confuse me are the batarangs that it comes with. We have one right here that is like sort of a classic batarang look, but once again, it's thinner. I think this is the one that Batwoman uses. And then we have, where'd it go? And then we have this bigger batarang right here that doesn't even look like a batarang. It basically looks like the bat symbol taken off of Batman's costume. But I question why they're two-toned brown and black. Is it supposed to represent like them sinking into Two-Face? Weren't they all on the same team during this reign? Now, what's equally frustrating is both of them have one gripping hand and one fist. So they can either hold the batarang or they can hold the grapple gun. This was another argument for Batwoman having two grip hands, because then at least, since there's only two accessories for each of them, one grapple gun, one batarang, at least if they had two gripping hands, they'd be able to hold both of their weapons at the same time. So it's also worth noting that as far as accessories go, there's no art card, there's no like collector's card with these figures, which may not be a big deal to some people, but this is the first time we got a Batwoman. We should have had one with her to complete the collection, which means we probably are going to be getting a regular release Batwoman if they didn't include it with this. Also, there's no figure stands with this as well, so keep that in mind if you're considering ordering this. So we have Batwoman here, and we're going to slip the grapple gun into her hand. The bad news is that the grapple gun feels, even the smaller one, feels like it might be too big for her hand. It feels like it's stretching it. It doesn't feel like it's a natural grip on there. Her hand might be a little too small, so we'll set her back here and hope her weak knees can keep her upright with her arm extended. And then we have the larger one here that just sort of nubs into his hand, into Batman's hand. And there we go. So the batarangs will just, toss on the ground there. Two-Face gets no accessories, but then again, what else would you give Two-Face? Okay, putting the tape measure to him, we can see that Clayface, I think I might have called him Two-Face at some point during the video. Clayface is roughly 8.5 inches tall to the top of his body. Batwoman over here is approximately 6 7/8 inches tall to the top of her bat ears. And Batman over here is roughly 7 1/8 inches tall to the top of his bat ears. Now here they are beside McFarlane Toys, DC Multiverse, Titans, Wave, Raven, and Nightwing. I know Batwoman looks shorter than Raven, but quite honestly, I feel like, and I don't mean to harp on this, but I do feel like that if she could look up and look straight ahead, she'd be more on eye level with Raven right here. Here they are with more McFarlane DC Multiverse, Joker, and Poison Ivy. Here they are with McFarlane DC Multiverse, Collect-to-Build, Solomon Grundy, and Mega Fig Doomsday. Here they are with Marvel Select Thanos and Lady Death. Here they are with Hasbro G.I. Joe Classified Series Baroness and Snake Eyes. Here they are with Lanyard Toys City Hunter Predator and Xenomorph Drone. And finally, here they are with NECA Toys Dungeons & Dragons Warduke and Grim Sword. I'm just going to come right out and say it. I'm disappointed in this set. And my disappointment isn't so much with the figures, it's just more in the presentation. It's in the feeling that this was sort of done as an afterthought. That this was done with the thought process of, if we put these three figures together, we'll be able to sell this pack. People have been wanting Batwoman, that will be the main selling point. And to be completely honest, she was the main selling point for a lot of people, myself included. The other selling point for me was that I hadn't bought Clayface yet, so all three of these figures were new for me. For people that are buying this set mainly because of Batwoman, but they already have Clayface or maybe even this Rebirth Batman, there's a lot of wasted money involved here for something that feels half done. Let's start with Batwoman. That first of all, the knees. And I know, once again, it may just be mine, but those weak knees really made it an issue trying to pose her for the photos at the end of this video. Also, not being able to look straight. Like, I don't mean to keep harping on that, but how can you not have her looking straight? There's too much hair. Like, that just boggles my mind. Other than that, like, her build, her sculpt, like, the figure herself, I don't have a problem with. It's just that, like, certain vital parts of her aren't really working well. Batman, never really cared for that version of Batman, even in the comics, so this figure is more likely going to be getting put back in a bag and go into storage. But, ironically, he's probably the most solid figure of this set. He looks good. I like the slim build, that he's not overly bulky. He has a really good coloring with that gray. I like the purple lining of his cape. He looks good in some ways, but for the most part, I really don't like this style of Batman. Clayface, I really dig Clayface. There's articulation below the waist, but why? It's really not going to do much of anything. The arms, I like the range of movement for the arms, those long brown arms of his. But there's also the issue that they feel very loose, that eventually over time, those joints are going to loosen even more, and he's not going to be able to hold his arms up on his own. I also wish that the upper body was made of a more rubbery, pliable plastic instead of that hard, like, shell that he has. Because I do worry that if I play around with it too much, I'm going to crack that, I'm going to break that. I wouldn't have minded if it was, like, squishy like his mid-torso is. Because it's Clayface, he can be squishy. And then another point that makes me feel like that this was just halfway thrown together is the accessories. 2 batarangs, 2 grapple guns. The grapple guns are fairly boring. The batarangs, the only thing they have going on is two-tone. And why the figures have 1 open hand, or 1 gripping hand, 1 clenched fist, just give them 2 gripping hands so that they can carry both of their accessories with them, such as they are. That annoys me as well. And not having the figure stands, not having the collector cards, like, these are things we've come to expect from the Multiverse line. It was bad enough when there was no collector card added in with the Batmobile, that now there's not one for these figures, which not only, like, the thing that upsets me about that is, not only is that, like, annoying that they didn't include things like that, but if there was anything else that just screams, hey, Batwoman's going to have a solo release eventually, you didn't need to buy this 3-pack, it's that. Because of course there's going to be a collector's card for her in her individual release. I would be willing to bet money on that, and I might lose, true, but I really would be willing to bet money on that. And then not having the figure stands. Things that have become like a staple, a standard of the Multiverse line were not included with this. And that's just telling me something right there. I don't know what's going on with McFarlane Toys, but like recently, a lot of their stuff feels like just cheap, easy money grabs and things that are just decided on the fly. We have all of these repaints and limited editions that are coming out, and then we have 3-packs like this, where 2 figures are basically just repaints, and 1 is one that, like, a lot of us have been clamoring for, a lot of us have been wanting. If you want this set, if you're like me and didn't have any of these figures and you just want to get it because you want Clayface, you want Rebirth Batman, and you want Batwoman, go for it. But just be aware of what you're getting. I'm not entirely sure I don't regret ordering this. That, like, I don't... Part of me is thinking, man, I should have just bought Clayface individually and waited for the single release of Batwoman. Although if I would have done that, odds are we probably wouldn't have even had a single release of Batwoman. I know I'm really being hard on this set, but, like, for the amount of money that they charge, like, this was pretty much a letdown for me. But people's mileage may vary. Do you have it? Let me know. Let me know if you agree. Let me know what you think of it. I do like, one bonus that I do like is I do like the recoloring of Clayface. I like this richer, deeper color. I am very happy that, like, Batwoman came out, but they could have done so much better. Like, that hair just really annoys me that she can't look straight ahead. So until next time, my friends, play well, stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, thank you for watching.